What's happening, guys? Welcome back to Rule of Two Review, and can you believe it? My Denver Broncos won the Super Bowl last night, so I'm going to be celebrating by wearing this amazing, lucky Denver Broncos hat that I like to think maybe helped us win the Super Bowl last night. So what we're doing today and what I'm discussing is a little bit out of the norm. It's actually kind of a rough video to be a little bit celebratory with my Denver Broncos' fantastic Super Bowl win last night because it's something rather tragic we're going to be discussing, and that is going to be the closure of Gametrailers. So like I said, I'm kind of in a weird mood because I'm reeling from the amazing Super Bowl win from the Denver Broncos last night beating the Carolina Panthers. A lot of you probably know my girlfriend and I are from Denver, Colorado. She was there her whole life. I was there for 20 years. We just moved away to the West Coast just last year, so it's very new for us to not be in Denver. That being said, we're Denver Broncos fans for life, and hopefully any of you football fans out there got to watch that game. For all the Panthers fans out there, which does include my younger brother, I'm super sorry for your loss. For all the other Denver Broncos fans out there, what a freaking game. Congrats to Peyton Manning and our boys. But again, I can't really be too celebratory about that. I have to discuss what's happening with Gametrailers. Huge news today, just broke only a couple of hours ago, that Gametrailers, after 13 years, is going to be closing. Complete shocker, came out of nowhere, kind of. I guess when you look at the facts, maybe it's not out of nowhere. But still, it's very surprising, and as someone who's remained a really huge fan of Gametrailers, even over the last couple of years with the drama in games media and journalism and all that stuff, I wanted to discuss it, A, because I'm very sad, and I really liked that site and a lot of the people who worked there, and also B, because I think that it kind of speaks as to what's happening in the gaming industry overall. So first and foremost, what's happening with Gametrailers? Well, we really don't know a whole lot yet. But it was revealed on Twitter. I first saw it from a Kotaku post, a Kotaku article post on Facebook. Why is that so hard to say? A couple of hours ago about them shutting down, and it was revealed through Twitter from the Gametrailers Twitter, and also from Brandon Jones, who's like the kind of the head of Twitter there, and then later confirmed later by a couple of other people. But they basically said, hey, you know, after 13 years, Gametrailers is shutting down, and it really super sucks, and we're sorry, and that's that. What had ended up happening too is, who was it? Ben Moore, who's also one of the lead head guys at what is it? Ben Moore is Gametrailers associate editor. That's who he is. So he's one of the big guys over at Gametrailers, and he made an official blog post, and he said, "Hi everyone, Ben here. I just wanted to confirm that Gametrailers is shutting down officially today. Everyone is being let go. We all found out mere hours ago." That's crazy that he says that. So we're still reeling a bit. Sincerely, thank you all for the tremendous support. So there you have it. Gametrailers is shutting down. And, you know, I really liked Gametrailers. You know, it's one of the reasons why, like I said, I wanted to talk about this. Because for some reason, the way they put their content together, the personalities of all the employees and the people who do the videos, which includes Kyle Bossman, my favorite video game personality on the internet today. All those guys are really fantastic, really genuine. I've always thought that they're very smart. They have very open-minded and very thought-out and well-executed opinions, and I've always appreciated that. You know, I was a huge fan of IGN for so long, and IGN unfortunately became the site that felt a little bit less comfortable over the years, a little bit more kind of bought out by some of the bigger sponsorships and stuff. And I don't really think that they lie about their reviews like some people do. I don't get into the money hat thing, but just the company, the site itself became so corporate, and it became like 80% TV and movies and very little video game coverage over the years, and that really bugged me. So, you know, with that, I kind of gravitated back more towards Gametrailers, and I feel like Gametrailers upheld kind of the gamer-centric focus and personality that they always had throughout the years, and I really liked that. They have a bunch of great content for E3. They always have good game trailer reveals. They put together fantastic lists and shows that I really like. You know, and, you know, Jeff Keighley, I don't know if he got his start there, but he was a huge part of it for a while. The Angry Video Game Nerd, back when Screw Attack was a part of them, he got his start there. So many great things have happened from Gametrailers, so I've really enjoyed those guys for a very long time. So, most importantly, I have to say that I'm really sorry to Gametrailers and a lot of those guys and gals that work there who are no longer going to be working. Fantastic men and women in the industry have been a part of Gametrailers, and it sucks to know only hours ago they find out, oh, by the way, the whole company is done. and that's what's happening, and now you have to find new jobs. I think that that's terrible. I wish everyone a lot of luck. The gaming industry, seems to have this issue where you never really have job security in the industry, and I think that that's so unfortunate for people. Now, what I think happened is in 2014, this is mid-2014, I think right before E3 that year, Gametrailers, the parent company that was Gametrailers, I think Spike TV, or I don't even know, they were purchased by a company called Defy Media. And when that happened, there was a couple of initial changes. I remember them kind of talking about it. A lot of people did get laid off back then when that happened. It's also when you might have noticed, like, Michael Pachter and the Pack Attack show completely disappeared. He no longer was associated. Defy Media worked to try to, as I understand it, they worked to try to streamline the business, streamline the revenue that they were spending and the revenue that they were trying to make as a company. And they let go of a lot of shows and talent, personalities, and, elements of how they ran that business to try to basically save money, to make it a more streamlined, more efficient business model. And, some things didn't change. A lot of the shows that they used to run, those stayed the same, excuse me. I remember Marcus Beer leaving with his Annoyed Gamer thing. I think that was part of that as well. And, Kyle Bossman, luckily, he stayed. And, like I said, some things went, some things stayed, and I thought that was very interesting. So I think that was the beginning of the change, with all of those people initially losing their jobs, and all of a sudden this new parent company took over Gametrailers. And when you fast forward to today, it kind of seems like what ultimately happened is Defy Media, which is a bigger conglomerate that does a lot of different things. I think that they ultimately learned Gametrailers isn't profitable enough. It's not worth it. It's not worth our time or our money, or whatever return we're getting on it isn't enough to justify the existence of Gametrailers and paying all the employees and supporting it as a business, as a company and a business underneath their parent company. And so what seems to be happening, and this is not confirmed, I am not any sort of authority on this case, but what I'm willing to bet happened is Defy Media eventually was like, not worth it, so we're just going to be closing the doors. So that's what's happening there, and why it seems like Gametrailers is shutting down. The other thing that I wanted to talk about through this tragedy is what I think it means that they're shutting down, and maybe what led to Gametrailers being shut down, why they got shut down, and why it could spell some not great things for other things happening within the gaming industry, at least on the media and journalism side. And I think it's much more than just, well, the parent company decided to close them down. It's basically what gave the parent company the reasons to maybe shut them down. And it's just the changing face of games media, and it's the stiff competition from things like YouTube and from Twitch and all this live streaming gaming and all the gaming competitions that are happening, and the fact that there's so many different ways to make money, and there's so many different places for people, for gamers like you and me and people interested in the industry, to get their information and to get reveals of what's happening. I mean, YouTube alone is probably the number one reason, the number one competition for traditional gaming media. I mean, if you guys think about it, the gaming magazines that me and a lot of older gamers grew up with, those have far been replaced by what the internet has been. We used to rely on Nintendo Power and GamePro and EGM to give us our gaming news. And then, in the early mid-2000s, when sites like GameSpot and IGN and even Gametrailers started coming around, it's like, well, we don't need magazines. Game Informer, we don't need that. That news is so old by the time it hits print and then gets shipped to a store for us to look at, that there's no reason for us to use that. The internet has made it possible so that we don't even need to worry about GamePro and Nintendo Power. That's not even important anymore. And in the same respect, I think that that's kind of what's happening with gaming media and websites. Is, people don't really want to go to a place like IGN or GameSpot, where a bunch of jaded and potentially corrupt, or whatever kind of drama you want to fit into this situation, potentially corrupt, journalists and editors for these gaming sites, whatever they're going to tell us, and the news propaganda, some people want to call it that they're giving us, when they can go to YouTube and find personalities of people that they like and trust. People like Boogie2988, or people like Alpha Omega Sin, or some people like Player Essence, Francis, someone who I know really well. Maybe me, maybe I'm one of those guys. There's so many different people. The Happy Console Gamer, someone else who I really like. I like Boogie, and of course I like Player Essence and stuff like that too. I do like Alpha Omega Sin. There's probably a bunch of others. There's thousands. There's probably so many I don't even know of. There's different ways for people to get their gaming news nowadays. And there's a little bit of an argument of where does the gaming news come from before then? Because someone like myself, I get gaming news from news sites. I get it from IGN and Gametrailers and GameSpot and different things like that. And sometimes, or Kotaku, Facebook articles like this broke to me, but there's also Twitter and Facebook. Like, those are other ways to kind of break the news. So it's a weird kind of cycle, but ultimately there's too much competition. So a company like Gametrailers, it has to run off of ad revenue, off of trying to sell people other product by getting traffic and clicks and views. Like, that's just not happening in the same numbers probably as it is for a place like YouTube, where so many of other people like myself and you probably go to get our gaming news and our gaming personalities. And it's kind of exemplary of the changing face of gaming, and gaming and games media and news and journalism, like I said. And it's too bad. I think that a lot of other sites need to maybe be a little bit cautious and careful. I think that this trends like what we're seeing here with Gametrailers regrettably having to shut down, I think are going to continue and become more severe down the road. And, I look back at, here's an even example I have of the changing media. Just in the same respect that IGN, I think, became more corporate seeming, I think it's probably to keep that company going. They're far more about endorsements and paid advertisements and splash pages and crazy amounts of ads all over their pages now than they ever were before. And they're more about doing Hollywood media coverage and TV coverage and stuff like that, I think, because there's more money in it and there's more security for the company. There's probably so much money filtering in through IGN that doesn't rely on traffic and views and clicks and stuff, that they can support themselves. And it was probably ultimately a smart decision. Even though I don't enjoy the site as much, it was probably a smart decision. I think through that and through what I'm talking about with the competition for something like Gametrailers, I am almost 100% sure that's why someone like Greg Miller and Colin Moriarty, and I feel terrible not remembering the other guy because I actually really like him. Oh gosh, what's his name? Damn it. I'm so sorry. I can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, the couple of those guys who left IGN to start Kinda Funny Games on YouTube, I guarantee you that's why they left. To become their own bosses and create their own content that's 100% theirs. Absolutely, they're creative guys. This may be controversial and shock a lot of you who are fans of me, but I really like Greg Miller and I really like Colin Moriarty. They say boneheaded things and sometimes they're kind of pompous and arrogant, but I don't care. I like them. They're funny. I go way back to when those guys were coming up on IGN, and so I still enjoy them and appreciate what they do overall. And yes, I know I look like Colin Moriarty. Everyone tells me I share DNA with that guy, and I like Colin, but even though I may look like him, trust me, we're not related, and I'm not him. I am only me. But those guys, I'm sure they left because they also saw that there was a change coming. I think that they saw that there's no future in just a gaming website and trying to be employed and make consistent, steady, secure money and income from a gaming website. They saw the future is something like what YouTube can offer for gamers, and something like your own little sort of world and company and business, and you create the content. Fairly small investment overall, and all of a sudden you can generate enough followers and enough entertainment that you're making money doing that, and you don't have to rely on the big BS of a huge company like IGN, which is so tied into sponsorships and ads. And there's, even though it makes me sad that gaming media is becoming that, because I've loved being able to absorb gaming media for so long the way it is, I do think that it's also a good thing. I mean, hell, it's part of the reason I felt comfortable starting Rule of Two Review as a website and a podcast way back, and then bringing it to YouTube, because I certainly do not make a living here. I make very little money on YouTube. But, the dream does exist. Whether or not I ever achieve it or even really fight for it, I don't know. But it's possible that if I had Rule of Two Review grow big enough, I could do it full time, or at least make so much extra significant money I could change the course of my current career. I doubt I would ever do that. It's a pipe dream, and it's not like it's secure for a very long time, but the fact that it exists is pretty neat. YouTube and like Twitch and all these other things, they do offer this conduit for gamers who are creative or maybe create interesting content to make a living and to do something really significant and special and entertain people. And through that, this whole long story is why I think it's a different gaming media landscape today, and it's why I think, unfortunately, we had to lose one of the oldest and most important, and I think best players in Gametrailers. So like I said in wrapping this whole thing up, I feel terrible for the Gametrailers staff. A lot of really good people work there, I think. And even if you don't like them, or you didn't like their content or whatever, it's another big company getting shut down. Like, you have to think of the people who worked for them. Think of the people who put that stuff together. At the end of the day, they're blue-collar people working for a company just like you and me, Whatever kind of job you have, like the job I have, I would hate to lose it. I'd hate to be laid off. These people were let go and all of a sudden they're not employed. I mean, that is affecting people's lives, and people who never did anything else than work for a video game website in an industry and about a hobby that you and I share passion for. And that sucks, man. It really sucks that these people are having to go through this. And I think it sucks for us because we're losing a great website, with some really good content. So all in all, that's my thoughts on what's happening, why I'm sad about Gametrailers being closed, and why I think it's kind of signifying other changes in the gaming industry to come, and what it says about gaming and the media currently today. I guess we'll see how much of this stuff comes true. Will it get worse, or some people might call it better? Will it change significantly over the coming years, or is this like kind of a one-time deal? Maybe Gametrailers is just the one casualty and everyone else will continue to be okay. But I don't know, man. I guess we'll just kind of see. So that's what's going on. Thanks, of course, for tuning in. Share your guys' thoughts about Gametrailers closing below, what you think about my theories and the gaming media landscape today. Congrats to my Denver Broncos again. Thanks for putting up with me wearing my Lucky Broncos hat. Felt pretty good, even though it was a sad video, sad topic to discuss. It felt good being able to support my Broncos on a video. So feel great about that. Thanks again for tuning in. Really sorry for all the Gametrailers peeps. And this is Rob of Rule of Two Review. I'll catch you guys next time on another video.